Dr. Elizabeth Morgan stared at the readings on her holographic display, her heart racing as she double-checked the numbers for the seventh time. The Berkeley Institute's Quantum Anomaly Detection Array had picked up something impossible during their failed particle test, and now she couldn't shake the feeling that she was looking at something that would change everything. "Run it again, Marcus," she called to her research assistant, who was already inputting the commands. The young physicist's fingers flew across the haptic interface with practiced precision. The laboratory hummed to life, its advanced sensors probing deep into the Earth's core. The failed experiment had been a blessing in disguise. When their quantum entanglement test had collapsed, the sensors had detected something else instead, something that shouldn't exist. "Signal confirmed, Dr. Morgan," Marcus said, his voice tight with excitement. "It's still there, and it's still maintaining that perfect frequency." Elizabeth pushed her auburn hair back from her face, green eyes fixed on the pulsing waveform that danced across her screen. The signal was coming from Earth's core, but it wasn't natural. Natural phenomena don't produce perfectly modulated gravitational waves in precise mathematical sequences. "This is like finding a heartbeat in a mountain," she muttered, more to herself than to her team. "It's not just random energy. There's information being transmitted here." Dr. James Chen, her colleague in quantum physics, shook his head as he studied the data. "These patterns, they're similar to what we see in quantum computing, but orders of magnitude more complex. Whatever's generating this signal has access to energy levels we can barely comprehend." Elizabeth was about to respond when her neural link chimed with an urgent message. It was from Dr. Victoria Hayes at the British Museum's Advanced Research Division. The message was brief, but sent Elizabeth's mind reeling. "Check your inbox now. Same signal pattern found in carbon dating anomalies at megalithic sites worldwide." With a few quick gestures, Elizabeth pulled up the attached files. Her office wall transformed into a global display, showing dozens of archaeological sites highlighted in red. Stonehenge, the pyramids, Göbekli Tepe, ancient structures that had puzzled archaeologists for centuries. "Look at this," she breathed, expanding one of the data sets. "The carbon dating inconsistencies at these sites. They're not errors. They're showing traces of the same gravitational signature we just detected. It's like these places have been gently pulsing for thousands of years, but we never had the right tools to notice." Marcus whistled low. "Are you saying these ancient sites are connected to whatever's causing our signal?" "Not connected to it," Elizabeth said, her mind racing ahead as the pieces started falling into place. "They're part of it. Think about it. Why did ancient peoples build these massive structures with such precise mathematical alignments? What if they were responding to something? What if they could sense these signals somehow, and their great works were an attempt to synchronize with them?" The laboratory fell silent as the implications sank in. Their failed experiment had stumbled onto something that could rewrite human history. But it was the next alert that made Elizabeth's blood run cold. The signal was getting stronger. Across her display, the waveforms were changing, their patterns becoming more complex, and now other research stations around the world were picking up the same thing. Whatever had been sleeping in Earth's core for millennia was starting to wake up. "Dr. Morgan," Marcus called out, his voice strange. "You need to see this." The main screen now showed a new data set. The signal's pattern matched with something else, something that made Elizabeth's scientific mind struggle to accept what she was seeing. It was an exact match for human brainwave patterns during moments of creative insight. The Earth wasn't just sending a signal. It was trying to communicate. The solar flare struck without warning. Elizabeth was still in her lab when every electronic device at the Berkeley Institute suddenly overloaded with energy. As emergency systems kicked in, her neural link flooded with global alerts. The same thing was happening everywhere. "Get me satellite feeds," she shouted, but Marcus was already bringing them up on the main display. The images made her breath catch in her throat. Massive auroras were lighting up the sky, not just at the poles, but everywhere. The planet's magnetic field was doing something impossible. Dr. Morgan. Dr. Chen's voice crackled through the emergency comm system. The signal. It's changed. The pattern is evolving. Before she could respond, the ground beneath the institute began to tremble. But this was unlike any earthquake Elizabeth had ever experienced. The vibrations had a purpose, a rhythm that matched the signal they'd been studying. Her neural link pinged with an urgent message from Dr. Hayes. Elizabeth, get to Egypt now. Something's happening at the pyramids. Sending transport coordinates. Within hours, Elizabeth and a hastily assembled team were landing near the Great Pyramid of Giza. The scene before them defied explanation. Geometric patterns of blue-white light were emerging from the ancient stones, forming complex networks that stretched into the sky. It's not just here, Marcus said, checking global feeds. Stonehenge, Göbekli Tepe, the Nazca lines. Every major archaeological site is activating. They're all connected. Dr. Hayes met them at the base of the Great Pyramid, her dark skin gleaming with sweat, despite the cool night air. We've found something, she said without preamble. Ground-penetrating radar picked up a chamber that wasn't there yesterday. It's deep, and it's moving. They followed her through a newly formed passage that seemed to phase between solid rock and pure energy. Elizabeth's scientific mind struggled to process what she was seeing. Matter itself was being restructured around them. The chamber they entered was vast, its walls covered in shifting symbols that seemed to respond to their presence. In the center, a column of light rose from floor to ceiling, and within it, something was taking shape. Its A interface, Elizabeth breathed, watching as the light consolidated into a holographic display unlike anything human technology had achieved. But who built it? And why? The answer came in a series of images that filled the chamber. They watched in awe as the history of Earth unfolded before them, but not the version they knew. They saw ancient beings of pure energy seeding the planet with complex machines, guiding the evolution of life itself, all building toward a single purpose. They were creating us, Marcus whispered. Everything. Our biology, our intelligence, our creativity. It was all engineered. Not engineered, Elizabeth corrected, understanding flooding through her as she watched the images. Enhanced. They didn't create humanity. They found something in us that they needed, something they couldn't create artificially. They just helped it grow. The holographic display suddenly shifted, showing a new image that made everyone step back. It was a map of the galaxy, but overlaid with a complex network of energy lines, all converging on Earth. Their planet wasn't just another world. It was a nexus point in some vast, ancient defense system. A deep rumble shook the chamber, and new symbols began appearing on the walls. Elizabeth's eyes widened as she realized she could read them, the knowledge somehow flowing directly into her mind. "We need to get back to the surface," she said urgently. "Now." "Why? What do the symbols say?" Dr. Hayes asked. "They're a warning," Elizabeth replied, already heading for the exit. "The chamber isn't just showing us history. It's telling us about a threat that's coming. And according to this, we're not the only ones who just noticed Earth waking up." They appeared like stars going nova, 12 massive ships materializing just beyond Mars' orbit. Elizabeth watched the live feed from the orbital defense platform, her heart pounding as the vessels moved with impossible grace, taking up strategic positions around Earth like a cosmic firing squad. "Their whole configuration is unlike anything we've ever theorized," Marcus said, his voice hushed as he analyzed the data streaming in. "Those ships are bending space-time, just by existing." The Global Defense Council had assembled in minutes, their neural-linked avatars filling the Berkeley Institute's Strategic Command Center. Elizabeth found herself at the center of it all, Earth's foremost expert on whatever was happening to their world. Admiral Chen's avatar stepped forward. "Dr. Morgan, those ships are positioning themselves along the same energy lines you discovered in the Egyptian chamber. This can't be coincidence." Before Elizabeth could respond, every screen in the command center flickered. A new presence filled the neural network, alien yet somehow familiar. The first message from the Vren was both simple and terrifying. The awakening must not complete, for the safety of all reality. The translation matrix worked perfectly, too perfectly. Elizabeth realized the Vren were using technology similar to what they'd found in the ancient chamber. "They know what Earth is," she breathed. "They know what we're becoming." A new hologram materialized in the center of the command center. A Vren ambassador. The being's form shifted like living mercury, its surface rippling with colors that shouldn't exist. "We come not as conquerors," it said, "but as those who have seen the end of worlds." Elizabeth stepped forward. "You're running from something. Something worse than war." The Vren ambassador's form pulsed with dark colors. "We are running from the death of reality itself. The Void Dancers have returned, and your world's awakening will draw them here." Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the command center. One of the Vren scout ships had detected something at the edge of the solar system. The feed showed only static, but the readings were clear. Space itself was being torn apart. "Show us," Elizabeth demanded. "Show us what we're really facing." The Vren ambassador's response was to project a memory. Everyone in the command center watched in horror as a world much like Earth was twisted inside out by beings that defied comprehension. Reality itself became a weapon used to erase everything that world had ever been. "That was the last Guardian world in the Andromeda sector," the ambassador said. "The Void Dancers feed on the same energy that powers your world's defenses. Every Guardian world they consume makes them stronger." A new alert cut through the horror. The Vren scout ship had gone silent. Not destroyed, not damaged, but simply erased from existence. The Void Dancers were no longer a distant threat. They were here. Elizabeth's mind raced, connecting patterns she'd seen in the ancient chamber with the Vren's warning. "You're wrong," she said finally. "Stopping Earth's awakening won't save us. It'll doom us all. The World Shapers built this system for a reason. They chose humanity for a reason." The ambassador's form stilled. The World Shapers were powerful, yes, but even they fell to the Void Dancers in the end. "But we're not them," Elizabeth countered. "Look at your readings. The way Earth's systems are activating. It's different from the other Guardian worlds, isn't it? Humanity isn't just using the technology. We're changing it, evolving it." Before the ambassador could respond, Dr. Hayes' avatar burst into the command center. "Elizabeth, the chamber, it's showing us something new. Something about how the World Shapers fought the Void Dancers. But the patterns, they look like human neural networks." The Vren ambassador's colors shifted to something almost like hope. "Impossible. Unless the World Shapers didn't just choose humanity to operate their defenses. They chose you to improve them." The joint Human-Vren research team had transformed the chamber beneath the pyramids into a command center unlike any in human history. Elizabeth watched as holographic displays show the activation of similar facilities around the world, each one revealing new pieces of the World Shapers' grand design. Each Guardian world was created with a specific purpose. The Vren ambassador explained, its mercury-like form flowing through the ancient symbols. Some were designed as weapon forges, others as shield generators. But Earth was different. Marcus brought up a new display, showing the complex network of energy lines that connected their planet to others throughout the galaxy. "It's like a web," he said, "and we're at the center of it." "Not just at the center," Elizabeth corrected, her eyes following patterns that seemed to make more sense with each passing hour. "We're the linchpin. The whole network was designed to be coordinated from here." A sudden alert drew their attention. The Vren fleet had detected another incursion, this time near a small city in Brazil. The feeds showed reality itself twisting, buildings and streets folding into impossible geometries as a Void Dancer scout made its presence known. "They're testing us," Dr. Hayes said, her avatar appearing in the chamber. "Learning how we react, how the defenses respond." Elizabeth studied the patterns of the attack, noticing something others had missed. "No," she said slowly, "they're not just testing our defenses. They're testing our minds. Look at the pattern of the distortion. It's designed to break down our understanding of reality itself." The ambassador's form rippled with concern. "This is why they target Guardian worlds first. Break the defenders' minds, and their weapons become useless." A new hologram emerged from the chamber's central column, showing the history of the World Shapers' war against the Void Dancers. The images were both beautiful and terrifying. Reality itself used as a weapon, entire galaxies reshaped in the conflict. The World Shapers were masters of order. The ambassador continued. They built their defenses on perfect mathematical principles, absolute control over space and time. But the Void Dancers, they use chaos itself as a weapon. Even the World Shapers couldn't fully counter that. Elizabeth watched as the hologram showed the fall of the World Shapers' civilization. But something about their final actions caught her attention. "They didn't just choose Earth by chance," she said. "Look at the timeline. They spent millennia preparing this world, guiding human evolution. But why us?" Marcus had been running analysis on the Brazilian incident. "Dr. Morgan, you need to see this. The city's power grid, it adapted. The energy networks actually reconfigured themselves in response to the attack. Our technology shouldn't be able to do that." "It's not the technology," Dr. Hayes said, understanding dawning in her eyes. "It's the people. The power grid adapted because the engineers controlling it adapted. They saw the pattern of the attack and instinctively found a new way to route the power." The ambassador's form shifted to a deep blue of revelation. "Now we understand. The World Shapers didn't choose humans to simply operate their technology. They chose you because you think in ways they couldn't. Your minds navigate chaos naturally." Elizabeth nodded, the final piece falling into place. "We're not just guardians. We're innovators. The World Shapers built a perfect system, but they knew it wasn't enough. They needed a species that could look at their technology and see new possibilities, new ways to use it that even they hadn't imagined." The chamber's lights pulsed in confirmation, and new symbols appeared on the walls. But before anyone could celebrate this understanding, every alert system in the chamber activated at once. The Void Dancers had just destroyed another Guardian world, and the shockwave was heading straight for Earth. The first signs of change came subtly. Elizabeth noticed it during a Neuralink conference with research teams worldwide. People were beginning to see patterns that shouldn't be visible to human eyes. Engineers reported seeing energy fields around ancient sites. Mathematicians woke from dreams speaking languages that had never existed on Earth. "It's like our brains are being upgraded," Marcus said, his hands moving through the holographic display with increasing precision. He had started seeing the energy flows directly, without needing the interface. "The World Shapers' technology isn't just teaching us, it's changing us." The Vren ambassador observed these changes with growing fascination. Its form shifted through shades of wonder as it watched humans interface with ancient systems in ways that defied their simulations. "Your species processes information unlike any we've encountered," it said. "Where others see chaos, you see new patterns. Where others find disorder, you create new forms of order." Elizabeth was about to respond when a surge of information flooded her mind. The neural network had expanded beyond their technology, tapping into something far more ancient. Through it, She could feel the pulse of Earth's awakening systems, the steady rhythm of power flowing through the planet's core. They're all connected, she breathed, understanding flooding through her. The ancient sites, the defense systems, even our own evolution. It's all part of one process. The world shapers weren't just building weapons, they were creating a new form of life, one that could adapt as fast as the Void Dancers. Dr. Hayes' avatar appeared, her expression urgent. Elizabeth, you need to see this. The changes aren't just mental. Our DNA is actually restructuring itself. It's like we had dormant code that's finally being activated. Across the globe, more reports flooded in. A team in South America had discovered they could redirect energy fields with pure thought. Australian researchers had started predicting Void Dancer incursions before they happened. Something fundamental was changing in the human species. The Vren's monitoring stations captured the process in real time. Human neural patterns were beginning to mimic the complex mathematics of the world shapers' technology, but with an unpredictability that made them even more effective. This is why they feared Earth's awakening, the ambassador realized, not because of the weapons, but because of what humanity would become. You're not just using the system, you're becoming part of it, improving it. A warning klaxon cut through the chamber. Long-range sensors had detected multiple Void Dancer signatures approaching the solar system. The enemy had realized what was happening on Earth, and they were coming in force. Elizabeth felt the response through the enhanced neural network. Millions of minds worldwide, now connected to Earth's defense systems, each finding new ways to use the ancient technology. The world shaper's perfect system was being transformed by human creativity and intuition. They're not just coming to destroy another guardian world, she said, understanding the true stakes. They're coming to stop what we're becoming, because for the first time, they're facing an enemy that can evolve as fast as they can. Marcus brought up a display showing the approaching Void Dancer fleet. How long do we have? Hours at most, the ambassador said. Your evolution is remarkable, but you're not ready for a full-scale attack. Elizabeth watched as more humans worldwide connected to the network, each adding their unique perspective to the defense system. Maybe we don't need to be ready, she said. Maybe being unfinished is our greatest strength, because they can't predict what will become. The chamber's lights pulsed in agreement, and new symbols appeared on the walls. Not the perfect geometric patterns of the world shapers, but something new, something human. The ancient chamber had transformed into something beyond human or Vren design. Holographic displays merged with pure energy fields as Elizabeth led her team through another training session. Time was running out, but their progress was unprecedented. Focus on the pattern, not the technology. She instructed a group of new recruits, their neural links now enhanced by the world shaper's systems. The machines don't create the energy, they guide it. We need to learn to do the same. Marcus demonstrated, his mind connecting directly to Earth's defense grid. Energy fields shimmered around him as he shaped them into complex geometric forms. It's like learning a new language, he explained. But instead of words, we're speaking in reality itself. The Vren ambassador watched from its station, its mercury-like form rippling with amazement. In all our simulations, we never imagined the technology could be used this way. Your species continues to defy prediction. Dr. Hayes' avatar appeared, bringing new data from the global network. The training centers at Stonehenge and Göbekli Tepe are reporting similar results. Humans aren't just learning to use the systems. We're creating new applications, new ways of manipulating space-time that even the world shapers didn't consider. Elizabeth nodded, watching as another recruit shaped an energy shield using pure thought. The original design had called for complex mathematical calculations, but humans had found they could achieve the same results through intuitive understanding. Show me the latest combat simulation, she called out. The chamber responded, creating a perfect recreation of a void dancer attack. The recruits moved in perfect synchronization, their enhanced minds working together to counter the reality warping effects. Their coordination is improving, the ambassador noted, but the real void dancers will be far more unpredictable. That's counting against us, Marcus said, bringing up data from previous encounters. But we got something they don't expect. Watch this. He gestured to a young woman named Sarah, one of their most promising recruits. She stepped forward, connecting to the defense grid in a way that made the friend's sensors light up with confusion. Sarah didn't just create a shield. She created something that shouldn't have been possible. The energy fields bent and twisted, following patterns that looked more like art than mathematics. Yet when the simulated attack hit, her defense held better than any traditional configuration. She's not using the standard protocols, Elizabeth explained to the stunned ambassador. She's a painter. When she connects to the grid, she sees the energy fields as colors and shapes. She's defending against chaos with creativity. The ambassador's form shifted through shades of revelation. You're not just learning to use the technology. You're teaching it to work in new ways that even its creators never imagined. An alert pulsed through the neural network. Another Void Dancer scout had been detected. But this time, instead of panic, the response was immediate and coordinated. Teams worldwide connected to the grid, each adding their unique perspective to the defense. The scout never had a chance. It found its reality warping powers countered by defenses that adapted as fast as it could attack. Human intuition, enhanced by ancient technology, but not bound by its rules, proved more than a match for chaos itself. We're ready, Elizabeth said, but the ambassador raised a hand in warning. That was a scout. The main force will be different. They'll come with strategies developed over millennia of destroying guardian worlds. Elizabeth smiled, watching as her teams continued to develop new ways of using the ancient technology. Good, she said. Let them come with their old strategies. They have no idea what we're becoming. The chamber's lights pulsed in agreement, its ancient systems now humming with new life. Humanity wasn't just ready to fight. They were ready to change the rules of reality itself. The attack came not at Earth, but at the guardian world known as Luminar in the Orion Spur. Through the enhanced neural network, Elizabeth and her team watched as reality itself began to tear around the distant planet. They're testing our response, she said, her mind connected to Earth's defense grid, seeing if we'll try to help another world. The Vren ambassador's form churned with urgency. Luminar's defenses are strong, but they're based on traditional world shaper patterns. The Void Dancers have broken those before. Marcus brought up a strategic display, showing the network of guardian worlds. We can't let Luminar fall. It's a key point in the defense network. If it goes down, Earth becomes more vulnerable. Dr. Hayes finished, her avatar appearing in the chamber. We have to respond. Elizabeth made her decision. Connect me to all training centers. Now. The neural network expanded, linking together every human who had learned to use the ancient technology. Through their enhanced senses, they could all see what was happening at Luminar. The Void Dancers twisting space-time into weapons, reality itself becoming their battlefield. We're not ready for a full deployment, the ambassador warned. Earth's systems aren't fully activated. Good, Elizabeth said, a plan forming in her mind. That means they won't expect what we're about to do. Sarah, show them your art. Sarah stepped forward, her consciousness extending through the network. The energy fields around Earth began to shift, following patterns that looked more like abstract paintings than military formations. Other humans joined in, each adding their own unique perspective to the defense. Channel it through the network, Elizabeth commanded. Show Luminar how to dance. The effect was immediate and stunning. Earth's defense grid pulsed with new energy, sending patterns through space that the Void Dancers had never encountered. When they tried to twist reality around Luminar, they found the space already moving in ways they couldn't predict. Marcus coordinated the next phase, his team of engineers treating the ancient technology like a living thing rather than a machine. They expect mathematical responses, he said. Let's show them some human intuition instead. The battle unfolded across multiple dimensions, with reality itself as the prize. The Void Dancers would create a pattern of destruction, only to find it countered by human creativity. They would attempt to break down order, only to discover that humans could find patterns in their chaos. Look at the readings, Dr. Hayes called out. Luminar's defense systems are learning from us. They're adapting. She was right. The traditional world shaper technology on Luminar was beginning to mirror the human modifications, creating hybrid defenses that even the Void Dancers couldn't anticipate. The ambassador's form pulsed with something like joy. This is what the world shapers must have seen in your species. You don't just use the technology, you teach it to evolve. The Void Dancers launched a final, desperate attack, attempting to tear apart the very fabric of space around Luminar. But they found themselves countered by art, by music, by human dreams given form through ancient technology. Their chaos met human creativity, and for the first time in millennia, they were forced to retreat. As the enemy fled, Elizabeth felt something change in the neural network. Other guardian worlds were reaching out, their systems resonating with Earth's modified defense grid. They had seen what humanity could do, and they were ready to learn. We did it, Marcus said, but Elizabeth shook her head. No, she said, watching as new Void Dancer signatures appeared on the long-range sensors. We just showed them what we're capable of. Now they'll come for Earth with everything they have. The chamber's lights pulsed in agreement. The real battle was about to begin. They came like a storm of unreality, thousands of Void Dancers tearing through the fabric of space-time. The solar system's outer defenses lit up as reality itself became a battlefield. Elizabeth stood in the chamber, her mind connected to both Earth's defense grid and the vast network of human consciousness that now extended throughout the planet. Multiple breach points detected, Marcus called out, his hands dancing through holographic displays. They're attacking from different dimensions simultaneously. The Vren ambassador's form rippled with concern. This is their full strength. They mean to end this now. Good, Elizabeth said, a slight smile playing at her lips. Because so do we. Activate the network. All of it. What followed was unlike any battle in human history. As the Void Dancers struck, they found themselves facing not just Earth's defenses, but human creativity given form through ancient technology. Every attack they launched was met with responses that defied prediction. Sarah led a team of artists, turning energy fields into living paintings that trapped and redirected the chaos of Void Dancer attacks. Musicians shaped shield harmonics that resonated with the very fabric of space-time. Mathematicians found new patterns in the enemy's chaos, using it to predict and counter their movements. They're adapting to our defenses, Dr. Hayes warned, her avatar showing signs of strain. Traditional patterns are starting to fail. Elizabeth nodded, having expected this. Then let's stop using traditional patterns. Marcus, initiate Protocol Dreamweaver. The chamber's lights pulsed as something new emerged from Earth's core. The World Shaper's technology had been modified by months of human innovation, creating defense systems that operated on principles of creative chaos rather than perfect order. Look at the pattern, Elizabeth called out to the global network. They use chaos as a weapon because they think it makes them unpredictable. But humans have been finding patterns in chaos since we first looked at the stars. Show them what we can do. The response was immediate and beautiful. Across the planet, millions of human minds connected to the defense grid, each adding their own understanding of pattern and chaos. Artists saw colors in the Void Dancers' attacks and painted new realities to counter them. Musicians heard the rhythm of space-time and composed shields that moved like symphony. The ambassador watched in awe as reality itself began to dance to human creativity. You're not just fighting them, it realized. You're teaching reality new ways to exist. The Void Dancers launched their final assault, a massive wave of chaos meant to unravel the very laws of physics around Earth. But when their attack hit, something unprecedented happened. The chaos didn't destroy Earth's defenses, it became part of them. Now, Elizabeth commanded, and the full power of human consciousness surged through the World Shapers network. Every guardian world connected to Earth felt the change, their ancient systems learning to see chaos not as an enemy, but as another form of pattern. The Void Dancers reeled as their greatest weapon was turned against them. They had expected to face order and found something far more powerful: the ability to find order in chaos itself. Their forces began to fragment as Earth's defense grid reached out, reshaping reality not through perfect mathematics, but through human understanding. "The network is stabilizing," Marcus reported, wonder in his voice. "Other guardian worlds are adopting our patterns. The entire defense system is evolving." Elizabeth watched as the last Void Dancers fled, their power broken not by superior force, but by an enemy that could turn their own chaos into creation. The chamber's lights pulsed with a new pattern, not the perfect geometry of the World Shapers, nor the pure chaos of the Void Dancers, but something uniquely human. "The World Shapers chose us," she said finally, "not because we were perfect, but because we could see beauty in imperfection. They gave us the tools, but we taught reality how to dance." Around Earth, the defense grid hummed with new life, ready to face whatever the universe might bring. Humanity had taken their place as guardians not by becoming what the World Shapers had been, but by becoming something entirely new. The age of the Dark Guardians had begun.